All right, I'm gonna try to sound like I halfway know what I'm talking about here. So here's the situation with this truck now. I got the ECM back from the shop that tested it. ECM is good. And so I asked him a handful of questions about, other things I had going on, like are the wheel speed sensors or the module that control it possibly gonna cause this issue? So I've narrowed down this issue to a CAN-C bus, the high-speed data bus. It's not anti-theft. Anyway, one of the things I asked him was like, hey, if I plug these in or plug this back in and clear all the codes, will it start? He's like, no. So anyway, I did that and it started one time the other day and I was all excited. I threw these wheels back on so that way they match and I could test the four-wheel drive out since I put the transfer case and stuff, the shifter in there. Anyway, after I got done doing that and a handful of other things, tidying up all the wiring I had tore apart, I'll get to this in a second. This isn't part of the wiring, but yeah. So anyway, it will not start again. This is from where I tried like jumping the solenoid again like I was doing before. Only did that one time. This time around, like I didn't keep doing it over and over again like I was doing in April. What was I gonna say? So, when I first plugged in the battery, there are 10 codes that are popping up on this, and I'll just go ahead and show you. I think most of these, they're all pending and stored codes and permanent codes. So, I think they're all things that can be, like I can find a reason for it. So, engine coolant temperature sensor circuit high. All right, I'm not positive, but that is probably because this is broke off. This was like when I got this truck, by the way. It's not something I've done. I've been as freaking careful as I possibly can be to preserve the wiring and do the best I can with the wiring and not twist it up or nick it or, cut it somewhere. This plug here, I'm not sure what it controls yet. I'll get down to all my testing eventually, but one of the wires that's in here definitely has like a little bit of it's arced. You can tell it's like slightly melted the plastic around it. So anyway, back to this barometric pressure circuit low. I can't say for sure what caused that, but I did drive this truck and the intercooler boot blew off that one time. So a handful of those are related to that pressure circuit low. Now it sounds like a high or low side. That's probably related to the CAN bus, honestly. ECM power input signal intermittent 2509. So that's a big one. That being a stored pending code, I'm not getting it back, and I'll get to here in a second the codes that I do keep on getting. So I'm not getting that one back. Like once I connect the battery, clear the 10 permanent codes that are in there, that one's gone. All right, and so I'll get to that a little more. Intake air temp sensor circuit high. So that sounds like another electrical problem. I don't think that means that the sense is too hot or anything. Manifold absolute pressure sensor circuit low. That's another electrical problem. This is probably all related to CAN bus. I'm not positive that these are electrical problems, but circuit, signal, fuel rail pressure sensor high. And that's probably from when I unplugged the FCA to see if that was faulty and like preventing it from running. What else we got? Intake air heater control circuit 1 high. Injection pump fuel valve high current. That's probably related to unplugging the FCA too, maybe, possibly. Crankcase pressure sensor circuit low. I don't know if this could be a ground or something that's causing all of this. I don't know. I've grounded this thing, significantly better than what was on there. It's not like I did anything back to the battery though, because I know that's a no-no. It causes sparking or whatever. There's a ground, and then here's a ground right back here. That's the factory wiring harness. All right, and then I took a lead from the negative to that. I don't know. To the inner fender. That's not literally directly to the battery negative, but it more or less is, because this is grounded to that, and then these are grounded to the inner fender as well. Here's a ground going to something. I don't know what that is. But then there's another ground over there. There's some grounds on the inside down here that are on like the wiring harness that goes down the floor. There's one on the steering column, and there's one behind the gauge cluster, and I think another one above the transmission pan, like up in the where the firewall's like rounded for the engine. Back in there, I think there's a ground on the inside in there. Oh, and then there's one, you know, that battery goes to the engine block. The engine block back here goes to the cab. The cab goes to the frame under the truck. And what's this battery negative grounded to? It goes down there. I don't know. It's factory location, whatever that is. ECM's grounded to, I believe the ground is like back here somewhere. Factory location. I haven't messed with it. So I'm thinking the grounds are like thorough, I would think. You know, I do need to get in there with a multimeter and test the resistance over the grounds, which, you know what? All this is bare metal. I welded the stud into the cab. All the studs that I've made, they're welded into the metal structure. So they definitely have continuity without a freaking doubt. Anyway, lost comm with TIPM. You know, this is the problem with having that generic scan tool, U141. You know, I was watching the guys on YouTube with like legitimate scan tools, and so that goes TCM, PCM, TIPM, ABS, blah blah blah, and each module shows its own fault codes. This generic AutoZone special here is it just says U0141 lost comm with TIPM, and I don't know which module lost comm with the TIPM. The trailer brake thing too, that's I'll get to that hopefully, not ramble too hard here. Okay, so here's the codes that are the issue codes, I believe. So all 10 of those codes clear, all right? And then I'm left with one code only, and it wasn't even one that I named. Diesel particulate filter pressure sensor A circuit low, all right? And that code cannot be cleared. This truck was tuned and deleted when I got it. Make that freaking clear to everybody here. You know, the EGR crap is on the truck, deleted. They didn't do block off plates. They didn't get a different intake. Just unplugged, all right? And it was straight piped. It had a muffler, and it had a, I don't even know what this thing is. I'll just show it to you. But it had a pyrometer in it, I believe, that. So there was a pyrometer right at the top of that thing, and this is like got honeycomb on the inside. I don't know what it is. It doesn't have any wiring going to it other than the pyrometer, which the pyrometer is still in the downpipe, right where it was supposed to be. Then the muffler, I took that out. I wanted a proper sounding diesel truck, you know, sound like loud and proud like it should. Anyway, so that one stays, and it can't be deleted. And then I turn the key to the start position. Truck does not start. And then turn the key off and back to on but not running, and let the thing do its search again. And then it comes back with that code again. It does all these codes that I said. It does pending, stored, I think, and then permanent. So the 10 codes, it's kind of 30, but it's the same 10 3 times: pending, stored, and permanent. And same for these things. So basically these 3 are 9 codes. But anyway, the DPF sensor circuit low. Down there on the side of the transmission, the thing has a little bit of corrosion in one of the pins. And I'm wondering, not sure how this works entirely, but I'm wondering like if it's is shorted on the inside, it's deleted from the computer, like it's not really looking for it. But since it's shorted and it's like giving a false reading somehow, that it's sending a signal back to the computer, and it still has the wiring there and the sense in the computer, obviously somewhere to sense it, and it's just like, hey, this is messed up. Don't know if that's why it won't start or not. CAN-C bus, that's the big one. P2509 is not coming back whenever I turn the key to run, doesn't start, and then shut it off and let it read the codes again. So CAN-C bus is not coming, or 2509 is not coming back. So I'm halfway believing that's not an issue anymore. Intermittent power from TIPM to ECM, I believe is what that one was. And then the last one here, P0381, wait to start lamp inoperative. So I did the gauge cluster sweep, the test, which it seems to work fine. But, you know, I videoed it when I did it, and, you know, I held the thing for a while and then didn't move my hand until, and I went and Chinese blueprinted the Dodge out here, and it does the wait to start light, the first one. So, you know, maybe my hand was in the way in the video. What I really need to do is, like, connect that battery, go back in there and test it again, and get my hand out of the way this time. And because now I know when the wait to start lamp is supposed to be. Both of these gauge clusters, about midway through in the little center light there where the wait to start glow plug thing is. It shows a glow plug even though these are grid heaters. In the center square, you know, it does a handful of different things, but about halfway through the test, the gauge sweep, it does get blank. And I was like, well, maybe that's where the wait to start lamp is supposed to be. Turns out that one does it the very first. They're both the literally exact same truck. Crew cab long bed 2010. That truck's a SLT. This one's a old crappy ragged out tradesman. But literally I think it should be the same thing. So basically, so somebody said that could have been a bad gauge cluster. That's why I did the gauge sweep. Some self test, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, the one thing I was thinking, maybe the wait to start light isn't coming on because I have the grid heater disconnected over here. Because anybody that knows 6.7 Cummins well enough knows that they do burn up that bolt back there, and you know, that'll fall through the intake plenum, it'll break off, fall back there, get into number 6 and kill your engine. So I've just disconnected that while I've been, you know, turning this off and on all the time. Anyway, connected that thinking maybe the heat sense up here, the intake air temp heat sense or something would sense that and be like, oh, but you know, I could feel that getting hot, and it didn't change anything. It still doesn't start. Oh, you just about got stepped on. All right, so anyway, you know, I can clear wait to start lamp and CAN-C bus, but the DPF filter keeps on staying there. So let's just throw this on right quick. It's not going to start, so I don't need to tighten it. Oh, and then the trailer brake thing. Let me get to that too. So when this truck was still a 4th gen, the first 3 things I took apart was the trailer brakes, the lights, the little light switch, you know, just working my way through the dash, and pulled out the radio. I believe the radio is a different CAN bus. I'm sure, obviously, it has to communicate with CAN-C high-speed data bus, diagnostic bus, but I believe it's a different CAN bus. So, trailer brakes is part of the high-speed CAN-C bus, I believe. And I'm afraid that when I took that out with the battery connected, I pissed it off. And when I turn the key on, there's relays that click in that thing, it sounds like, or does something that sounds like a relay. Anyway, that, Jesus Christ. Leave my cat alone. Anyway, yeah, that one does the same thing. The relays click. I thought about shotgunning that part into this truck, but, you know, if I fry it, I'm really going to be double upset, to be honest, because that's a perfectly good truck. So anyway, here, let's do this gauge sweep and see what, hopefully I can get my hand out of the way this time. Where's the keys? All right, there. Where's the tripod? Yeah, I got a lot of miles. That's why this truck was cheap. That's why I decided to tear apart a 4th gen. Who else would tear apart a perfectly good 4th gen? Unless it has 400,000 miles. All right. Yeah, there it is. Wait to start lamp. All right. Well, that confirms that something else is wrong. So, yeah, I mean, it'd be real cool if this started. You know, I'll wait for this test to get done, I guess. You know, I was shifting the transfer case. Those little 4-wheel drive lights over here were working as they were supposed to. Let this thing get done. We'll turn the key. Service trailer brake system. There it is. Yeah, so this thing displays a CF. So computer fault, controller fault, something like that. Maybe this thing's internally whacked out. Maybe not. Maybe the CAN-C bus. I was reading somewhere else that the generic code U0001 CAN-C bus is like a generic code, and that just means something's disconnected and the whole thing can't communicate. It's whacked out because something's disconnected somewhere. I need to move all this crap. I do have some wiring diagrams in here that the first shop gave me. You know, this is the fork in the road I'm at. Keep taking it to shops, you know, that are like, oh, that'll be 2 weeks. Oh, it'll be 2 weeks. I can get to it in 2 weeks. Or, there, it went to start. Nothing happened. All right. All right, let's go back here. On. Now it can communicate. It wasn't communicating because it was like actually on. Communication error. All right, let's try again. The fork in the road I'm at is like, you know, buy some freaking badass software like an Autel MaxiSys 900 or whatever the $1,500 one is. I saw that Harbor Freight came out with their new D8, T8, whatever it is, the Icon, which that definitely caught my eye because I like Icon tools. But it apparently does not have a junction in it where you can plug in an oscilloscope, and that is what CAN bus troubleshooting comes down to, basically. So that is a, I didn't know any of this before I really started. Oh, it's really just upset today. It's not doing anything. So, what's going on here? I know that dinger is very annoying. Yeah, I mean, so basically, the $1,500 Autel MaxiSys is something I need. I need a pinout kit. I need a subscription to Identifix or All Data or whatever to get my wiring diagrams and schematics and things, and an oscilloscope. So those 4 things. So there's the 30. That's the same 10 though. See, generic stored. Let's go this way. So you see generic permanent. Yep. So the same thing. Erase. Now it's going to be the DPF. Yep. Same 3 DPF codes. Generic stored, generic permanent, and generic pending. Alright, so now, hold on. This part too. Clear this, right? Clear it. Get out of here. There isn't a DPF on this truck. Erase was successful. Keeps coming back. So either to me that means either it can't erase it because the CAN's not communicating well enough to erase it, or it's like a, well, it should probably say active fault then, I would guess. You know, system status yellow. I guess maybe that's why it's not letting start the truck. This thing's upset enough that, or the truck's upset enough that it's just not gonna. All right. All right, it's full turned. It should be starting, theoretically. Nothing, right? Okay, so off and back to where I had it, right there. Okay, so reconnect. And now it's gonna have the 3 codes. CAN-C bus. Oh, it only says 6 this time, so it's not 9. What else do we got? Come on, guy. CAN-C bus, so that's still the bad one. And then it doesn't have the wait to start lamp. Well, I guess maybe it figured out that that's not actually wrong. I don't know, but either way, system's red now. Clear codes. And it's still gonna have the, I bet it's still gonna have the, yeah, exactly. It's just, I don't know what that causes that. All right, Levi just got here, so see y'all next time, I guess. We're gonna go ride dirt bikes. Holy shit, we're driving and the gauges are working. All right, so as you can see, I did get the truck running. I'll show you what I did. I know it's not proper, but right now it's working. So I put a toggle switch from battery positive to the solenoid on the starter. So I control when it cranks because it's not starting off the key. So I'll turn the key to start so that way everything else is working, you know, in the system how it should be. It just won't start off the key for whatever reason. Yes, I know this is probably not what I'm supposed to be doing, but this is getting it moved around the garage. Anyway, turn the key to start. So everything in the truck thinks that's when the starter should be running. So I run the starter, and as soon as it fires up, you just flip that switch the other direction. It kills power to the solenoid, and then you put that in run, obviously. And the truck does just fine like that. So I should be doing something practical like that, but we happened to cross the car show today, and somebody had an air horn. So now, this came on the C60. It was a really janky job that was on there. It literally had like wire staples, little plastic things with some drywall screws, and it was just screwed directly into the back of the blue cab. And then it went up onto the roof and was screwed into the roof. So, highly quality job with no sealants, by the way. I don't know where I'm going to put that yet, but also this is the same setup that came off the blue truck. That blue almost looks like PEX. It kind of has basically a shark bite fitting on there, but so there's not a whole lot of that blue stuff. This was mounted to the frame rail of the blue truck. Yeah, it is one of these things. It's kind of like a shark bite, and you can press it and it releases. What is that? I don't even know what this is. Is that a air pump? I don't know what that does yet. This thing. I don't know. I'll put power on this and see what that thing does. I don't know if it's air pump or not. But anyway, you know, it also had, let's see, this thing was wired into it too on the C60. And so I guess that's where he got his pressure from. It has an adapter for the compressed air thing. I mean, that's a big tank. Probably have an air horn for a couple days if you just filled that up, zipped it onto some, like when you pull into the shop, stick this on it. Yeah, it's pretty rowdy. It is way loud. The air horn today was definitely not that rowdy. That one's pretty rowdy. I'm thinking under the hood somewhere is where it's going to end up going. Let me pop the hood right quick. Got my good old trusty 4x4. So, there's not a whole lot of extra room. So I was halfway thinking that like maybe I could mount it on this. Like when I close the hood, it'll just kind of be sitting, you know. It'll be mounted directly to the hood. Now I don't know if that would just like be so tucked away that it just won't be that loud outside the vehicle. I know that thing's pretty freaking noisy. So looks like I have a little bit of room, you know, back in there. Maybe, yeah. I mean, I guess I could do that up in there. Up in here. Let me look down here. I don't know. We'll see, I guess. Couldn't be starting to get crammed up under here if I start putting all kinds of crap in there. Or maybe in this area somewhere. That'd probably be best. We'll see. Alright, I've come up with my game plan for doing these things right quick. So these I'm going to put up in here at like a slight forward angle. So that way they'll be up in the fender. They'll be out of the way of the tire. You know, they might get kind of muddy sometimes, but I think that's a good spot. And then, you know, the bolts will go right through. Under the inside, they'll be nice and easy to get to. And then I'll use the blue flexible stuff only for these. I'm thinking I'm going to run brake line, 3/8 brake line all the way back to where that tank is going to be. So You guys think those are nuts or like lead battery terminals that are like hacked apart and used as nuts? I keep on putting the guy that had this blow truck before me on blast. His wiring, this, sorry guy. But anyway, basically my idea for that is only gonna be where, you know, it goes into this, because it has that kind of like a shark bite type fitting. This thing has it too. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think that's just a open and open close valve. You know, it's electronically actuated. So I think I'm gonna put this on a separate switch than the actual horn, because you know, I don't know. I might. We'll see. I don't know. I feel like, you know, both of them going on at the same time. We'll see. Anyway, what I'm about to do here, I'm going to take all this apart. That's taking up way too much space, and I'm going to have to put a 90 on there. It does fit up under the frame rail. This side's got the gas tank, so the other side right there. And I'm going to make some brackets. You know, that looked like it was welded on, and then this thing's spray painted. So I'm going to cut those off, move them a little bit further over, and then do the same thing on this side. It's got a little bit of metal sitting here. And then on my rails on the inside, I'll, you know, run like a forward-backward piece to catch those things. So I think that'll work out pretty good, and it'll be all tucked away. It's not visible, you know, as long as I get this thing off there. So here we go. I think tomorrow, when I go get parts for this thing, I am going to drive this. That's going to be historic, man, because it'll be the first time it's drove to get its own parts. All right, watch. This is the what we have going on here. Toggle switch. You got to be fast, though, because it does run the starter. So I'm going to turn the key. See, obviously something isn't right because the tach's not working. Well, anyway, I'll pull her outside. Yeah, none of the gauges. Well, I mean, it is a full tank of fuel, but maybe that's the only one working. Well, we have amperage, or volts, I mean, so. I don't know, the truck runs. Yeah, I don't know why this happened. I mean, the other day it was acting better than it is right now, so. Oh, let's see if the exhaust brake comes on. God damn it, I just dropped it all the way down there. No exhaust brake. Yeah, I mean, something's pissed up here in the system. I don't know if I should take this to the shop or if I should just like take all these plugs back apart and spray them out again with CRC, whatever it's called. I don't know if my lights are on or not. I put the daylight sensor in the dash, so. Yeah, my lights ain't on, so we're gonna make that happen. So we're pretty. Pretty cool, man. Two pieces. I may cut the long end off of that one. I only did that to just grab an extra bolt that I have in the dash. But these are going to sit against some bolts that I have in the dash, and then these uprights are going to get to the gauge cluster. So I'll show you here. So anyway, those two studs coming up, I'll drill some holes in this, and then the angled upright will touch that, and same thing but other way, this side. So here's that's what I'll have to get some more 1/4 nuts because I'm completely out. I'm gonna put another nut under this, even though there's that one that's basically holding the scary there, kitty cat. Yeah, I mean the ones from down below are nutted, and so there's already one nut, and I'll put another one on there to give this a hair bit more height, and then I'll nut the top of this so that way it's secure. And then I'll have to do the back. I swear I bought some 1/4 nuts. I'll have to go in there and organize some stuff. I might just have to trim that out of here more. Looks like I didn't quite go to my sharpening mark, and I probably should have. But yeah, these are alright. They should hold it. There's nothing on the top to hold it. So, you know, this will hold that in place, and then I'll put the bezel in around it. And then there's gonna be a big gap between them because this is kind of scooted back. It's how it just has to be on this truck. So I'll have to get real fancy. I got the 4th gen bezel right there that I'll probably cut up and, you know, try to work with it a little bit. Might be able to use some of it. So we'll see. One thing that I read, at least, is that the 6.7 Cummins, the computer on this thing is apparently, you know, it's basically a standalone. Like, it comes from Cummins, you know, straight to Dodge on a pallet with the computer, with the ECM tuned and ready to roll. So more or less it's its own standalone thing from what I understand. Yeah, one of the forums I read, somebody's like, yep, straight from Columbus, Indiana, straight to Mexico, you know. Comes assembled, basically is what I'm getting here. So maybe that's why this engine's running just fine, you know, but the rest of the truck is kind of cracking out a little bit. My gauges are acting up, and I noticed that my lights did not automatically turn on, so that sensor, you know, whatever it communicates with is, it's upset system too. Anyway, yeah, I turn the lights on. I gotta lift the roof and do that one still, cab light. It's kind of hard to tell in the video, but all that is an angel light. It's not even all the way lit up. Not the halogen part of it, at least. Oh yeah, I did the gauge cluster thing. Let me show you that. It's plumb dark outside now, so. It sits in here, and it doesn't move. So that was the goal. You know, I'm gonna have to chop off this trip thing here because it's sticking out entirely too far. It's hitting that bezel. So I'm about to back her back in the garage and that's what I'm gonna do next. All right, so here's my update. Got this thing mounted under here. This is about a difficult spot to get your hand up in, right there between the truck bed and this thing. And so that'll be my fill. I left the pressure gauge on here. Had to take it apart to get this thing to spin on there. And this side is open. So I'm thinking about 3 inches here and then a 45. And then I'll put that on-off valve right in this area. And then I'll have to have another 45 or something. I'm wanting to do a metal hard line all the way to the front. Anyway, so yeah, metal hard line. I said brake line earlier, but in my mind I was thinking 3/8, which would have definitely made it a fuel line. But 3/8 probably ain't gonna be right because all this seems to be about 1/2 inch stuff. And so here's my next idea. I have this hose sitting around, 1/2 inch AN. So I don't know. I'll probably get a 1/2 inch metal line, run it up the frame, nice and pretty like with some 8L clamps. And then, you know, where it comes up the firewall, maybe make a 45 where it comes up with the metal. And then just put this into directly into the horn. You know, I got the blue one in the horn right now, but this looks legit. So yeah, here's the horn up under here. This thing is like stupid loud. I'll just bump it. Golly, man. And so that's obviously 120 PSI. It's pretty rowdy. I halfway thought about like putting a knob. You know what I'm talking about. I can't think of the name right now. Like to give it a little bit less pressure. It sounds like an old car if you can do it like that. Yeah, that thing's ridiculous. All right, so this truck successfully made itself, drove itself to the hardware store and back. And the gauges acted a little funky, but the truck did not put me on the side of the road. So anyway, I'm gonna finish the air horn system today. What I just did, I put the pipe thread, you know, little union pieces on down here. Uh-oh. Oh, I hear an air leak. I think it's coming from that, honestly. Yeah, most certainly. So anyway, this system, I got about 80 PSI in the tank right there, and it is not leaking that I can hear. So anyway, I'm going to build AN8 hose from that out to this. Yes, I use copper. Somebody's probably freaking pissed. But guess what? This is not a safety critical system, and I'm gonna paint that copper black, and then you'll have no idea that it's copper unless you just watch this video. So anyway, yeah, they didn't have 1/2 inch, not that I know of, fuel line or hard line at the, I didn't even go to AutoZone, I went to the hardware store. So anyway, that stuff's a little harder to bend than I was hoping. I would have done a 45 up the firewall and then that, but you know, it's not that big of a deal. I'll just run the AN8 where this blue hose is because it'll look fancier than this somewhat cheap looking stuff. Looks like blue pecs, honestly. I mean, it's not too far off from blue pecs. Anyway, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. All right, here's some nice little brackets. I believe this transmission fluid leak is because I got my cab sitting just a hair too low and it's hitting my transmission dipstick. So I'm gonna have to get that off there and bend that dipstick just a hair. Have to get a better light. I don't even have a light down here at all. I can't even tell what I'm doing. Well, that hole doesn't line up. I was afraid of that because I just took this. This already had one of the holes drilled, and I just threw a new one in there. Anyway, here's the idea of what we're going for. I don't have any 1/4-20 bolts down here. That's it, man. This was not centered with the crap, was it? But yeah, there we go. That's one down. I have to make that hole bigger. Wish I could see where it was. Let me use my phone flashlight. All right, got that second bracket made. There's the front one. All right, so here's where we're at with this thing. I'm gonna get a clamp light, dude. This little Bosch light is about wore out, so it's all floppy. It never points where I want it to. So I'm gonna get a clamp light. This phone on the tripod, I'll be honest, the phone light's not very bright, but I can aim it literally exactly where I want, which is nice. So here's what I'm gonna do. It's a little bulkier than I was hoping for, so I'll scoop that way. Let's see if I can do that. It's already tightened down, so I'll just cut some off the other side. Yeah, that's tight. I help it some, maybe. Oh, the other one's still tight. Okay. Oh, I bet it's hitting the control arm at the very front where it goes under the, let me go up there. All right, so that's the hose side. All right, compression fitting. Yeah, this worked out good. This is just random stuff I had laying around from misordering some stuff on the transmission lines, so. But it worked out really good, to be honest, because now I'm going to be able to do this. And this is like way overbuilt, but it's going to look reasonably professional, I think. Anyway, now I just got to make a short little section of AN8 from there. So that'll be cake. Sweet, man. Same thing on the front. I'll have to, I'm going to get up there with a Sharpie, cut the other end of this copper off where it needs to be. I'm going to make this run first, so that way that one is just where it is. And then I'll trim the front and use this other yeah, see, that's why I thought it was hitting the control arm, because it's way up here. I'll make another bracket probably between the cab mount and the control arm, maybe. I don't know, it might be behind it, under the cab. But anyway, so it's going to go 45 up the firewall, and then it's going to join into that, which is Adel clamped all the way along this angled edge. I just added that terminal block in, so I'm going to mount some relays back here in a minute. Once I get, I'll probably have to go buy some ring terminals. I think I'm out of those, to be honest. All right, the plumbing section of this is done. Time to off check. So I'm pretty sure this is electronically actuated. So we'll see if this horn comes on. That's so ridiculous. Anyway, air tank not visible up in the bed. Got this thing, some AN8, a bunch of adapters, 1/2 inch all the way up. Some more AN8 adapters there. Flex hose all the way on out, back up around the corner, and air horns.